Let's get it.
The Bible says, he that gather riches not by right dies a fool. Amen. When money is given to the glory of God to build up the work of God.
That's right.
The church ain't got no business buying a house for a preacher.
No.
Let him go get a job and work, you old lazy hypocrite.
Amen.
Huh?
Amen.
Amen. If the members got to work to buy their house, let the preacher work and buy his house.
That's right.
Am I right, I said?
That's right.
Amen.
That's right.
Don't buy the preacher his house. Don't buy him no car. Don't buy him no suit. Even Apostle Paul had a natural occupation. Someone said he did. The Bible said he was a tent maker.
That's right.
The other apostles, they natural occupation. They were fishermen.
Yeah.
Matthew, natural occupation. He was a tax collector.
That's right. That's right.
What kind of natural job you got, Pastor Jennings? Me and my wife, we do real estate. We
Don't buy the pastor nothing, he says.
The sound of the civil rights movement is not just a backdrop in terms of its religious substance. It is literally what gave the civil rights movement the financial means in order to continue. It was gospel artists like Mahalia Jackson who would give a concert and raise thousands of dollars. She helped to fund the Freedom Rides, helped to fund King as he traveled.
There were so few African Americans who were financially able to support the movement, but Mahalia did it on multiple levels. He could call Mahalia and they could talk through the dark times. And when things were really bad, we know that she sang to him.
Okay.
Pick up the pen and she turned the letter over. And this is what she wrote to that little boy. For the 9 months I carried you, growing inside me, no charms. For the nights I sat up with you, doctor, you prayed for you, no charms. For the time and the tears and the cost.
Black people, just like all people, I would say, irregardless of culture and race, they don't feel comfortable holding religious institutions and religious leaders accountable. And I think that is based on the mystique, as well as the theoretical nature of spirituality, in that the leaders are often considered to be direct representatives of God. So if you see your pastor or your imam or your rabbi as being a representative of God on earth, you don't feel comfortable questioning them. You know, pastors and imams and our religious leaders, they come with a air of untouchability. They come with a degree of non-accountability because they claim to represent the divine intention of the Most High God. And so a lot of people don't feel comfortable questioning religious leaders, which is exactly what they want you to do, which is not hold them accountable and not question what they are doing. So either we start questioning them or we stop supporting them, because the church takes 3 things from black people that we cannot afford to waste. Number 1, money. We give the black church several $billion every Sunday. Our donations to the black church are one of the highest annual expenditures in the black community. And it even exceeds the money that we spend on things like Air Jordan and fast food and chicken, turkey, beef, and pork. So the black church gets more money than even the Korean hair care establishment. So if you really look at the role the black church plays in the economic devastation of the black community, they play a very serious role. They take too much money from us and give us far too little in exchange. All I keep seeing is bigger churches. You might get a daycare, you might get a school, and even in those situations, they're not large enough to really make a meaningful impact, and they're often tied to the religious doctrine of that particular congregation. So they take too much money. Number two, they take too much energy. We can't afford to be exhausted in this freedom struggle. And the black church takes too much energy from black people. The singing, the hooping, the hollering, the Holy Ghosting, and everything else. It's just a lot of emotional energy that can be better spent constructing other institutions that is used up on the weekend in black America. And to that point, when you look at slavery, we were often made to go to church on Sunday, whether you were Christian or not, because the pastor saw how if they forced you to expend all of that emotional energy, you wouldn't have anything left for the slave revolt. So they saw how church and religion played a very significant function in maintaining social order on the plantation. And the third thing that religion takes from black people that we can't afford to lose, in addition to energy and money, is time. I mean, you're in church all day Sunday, then you go to Bible study, then you go to gospel choir, then you go to this and you go to that. And for all of this time that black people are spending in church, this is time that could have been better spent building schools, time better spent planning the hospitals.
All right.
Here at home tonight, and to graphic videos released late today showing the deadly police shooting of a black man following a traffic stop in Michigan. Video now showing an officer on top of the driver during a struggle. The officer then pulling out his gun and firing. Here's Steve Osunsami.
Stay in the car! Stay in the car!
Police in Grand Rapids, Michigan, who've been accused of hiding details in this case, say tonight they're sharing all the video they have.
No. Stop. Put your hands right.
The video from the officer's body camera and dash camera, from a cell phone and from a security camera recording from across the street, all show the moment when the unidentified officer pulls over 26-year-old Patrick Leoya in the morning of April 4th. What started with a license plate that wasn't registered to the vehicle turned into a struggle when the 26-year-old tried to run and then fought with this police officer in front of witnesses and cameras.
Stop. Okay.
You see them struggle over the officer's stun gun even as the officer fires it. In the last few moments, the officer is on top of the man and then pulls out his gun and fires.
Drop taser!
The police chief confirmed today that his officer shot the young man in the head and says he's not identifying the officer since he hasn't been charged.
There is an entire investigation being conducted by the Michigan State Police, which I do not have access to by design for conflict of interest.
The attorney for the victim's family says he was an African immigrant who was confused by the encounter and terrified for his life. We demand that the officer who killed Patrick not only be terminated, but be arrested and prosecuted. Police say the officer is a 7-year veteran of the Grand Rapids police force. He is on paid leave tonight. Attorneys for the victim's family speak tomorrow. David?
Steve Osunsami tonight. Thank you, Steve.
I am absolutely terrified to be pulled over by the police, which is made aware that a black man same age as me, 26-year-old Patrick Leoya, was fatally killed by an officer, shot in the back of the head execution style on April 4th. Body cam footage was just released today. The footage that I watched came from his friend, who recorded on his cell phone. And the reason that I had to watch that footage is because, conveniently enough, the officer's body cam was deactivated seconds before he shot and killed Patrick Leoya. And if you do go watch the footage, you can see that there is a tussle between Patrick and the officer. The officer is reaching for his taser, reaching for his gun, reaching for his taser. And in all that chaos, you had time to deactivate your body cam footage. Interesting. Patrick was unarmed, by the way. Hope that there is justice for his family.
Nilikuwa najua kama ukikutana na polisi,
I knew that if you met with a police officer in America,
utakuwa umesave maisha yako.
you will be safe. Your life will be spared.
Lakini cha kunililisha kabisa kuona
What is making me cry more to see my son
ameuawa kabisa na askari polisi mkubwa.
He has been killed by a police officer.
Roho yangu inavunjika kabisa.
My heart is really deeply broken.
Sikuwa najua kama katika hii nchi,
I didn't believe that in this country
kama kuko genocide,
that there is a genocide in this country.
Lakini kuona kabisa ameuawa unyama na ule askari polisi.
And to see that my son has been killed like an animal by this police officer.
Kwa kweli, kwa kuona hii video wametangaza,
and to see this video they show,
Hapa naona sina maisha, nimesikia roho yangu kabisa imevunjika.
I see that I have no life. I see my heart being broken.
Naomba sheria.
I'm asking for justice.
Naomba sheria juu ya Patrick.
I'm asking for justice for Patrick.
Tulivyokimbia vita kutoka kwetu.
When we ran away from war from Congo because we were in an area that was not safe, there was a war.
Tulizia tunakuja huku kuhifadhi watoto wangu watakuwa na amani.
And I thought that I came to a safe land, a heaven, a safe place.
Nashangaza sasa huku ndo watoto wangu wanaanza waua kwa mazi.
And I start thinking now, I'm surprised and astonished to see that my son is here, that my son has been killed with bullets.
Na sitapata mwingine.
And I cannot have another one who's going to replace Patrick.
Basi kwa hiyo nataka sheria juu ya mtoto
And
wangu.
for that, I need justice for my son.
All right, here we go. All right, what's up? What's up? What's
Hey,
up?
what's up, everybody?
What's up, Kev?
What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
How you
Tanya, your hair looks nice tonight, Tanya.
Oh, thank you.
Paul, your hair looks nice too.
Thank you.
It looks divine.
Thank you. Tanya looking very professional.
Oh,
Very,
thank you. I'm
very-
using my workout shirt. Very fresh up from the gym.
Welcome everyone to our Wednesday night get down, as we want to say, Wednesday night chat. Thanks to everyone for checking in. If you're checking us out on Facebook, thank you so much. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, tell everyone about our show, and please remember to turn on the notification button so you get notified when we go live. Or you can watch us after if you're busy, if you're at work, whatever you're doing. Our shows are saved, obviously, on YouTube. Obviously, we have a couple of topics we're going to jump on tonight. One we kind of touched on last week, so we decided we're going to do it this week. We're going to talk a little bit about the Black church and how has it benefited Black people. I am not, I have to say, full disclosure, have not. I don't think have I been to a Black church in America? I think like once, maybe once.
Wow, Carl.
I just
I
haven't.
gotta take you to a Black church, bro.
I just haven't. So
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm assuming it's got to be kind of similar to the churches in Barbados. I mean,
I would think so. I mean, people of color, we all, I guess, worship the same way. Same with our funerals are usually the same,
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it's an American thing. I think it's probably.
Well,
it depends on what religion you are. If you're Catholic,
That's true. That's true.
Baptist is popping no matter where you go. And if it's Catholic, it's gonna be
boring. Yes.
Take your cucumber or whatever that is.
Right, and that's exactly what it is, Tanya. The Catholic Church is they sing very low.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're trying to get you to go to sleep so you won't recognize them taking your money.
Exactly. There you go. There you go. Oh, it's nice. Just put a couple pence in there. No problem.
And then there's the Anglican Church, which is kind of it comes off of the Catholic Church. Mm-hmm. And then there's the Baptist Church, where there's a band and there's music. And that was a church that would have, I remember, it would have crowds of people inside and people outside looking in.
Yeah, I was raised in a Baptist church environment, Yeah, so I spent, most of my life in a Baptist church, baptized in a Baptist church. Well, yeah, so I am considered, I probably haven't been in a church in years, but I am considered a Baptist, by my religious faith.
Yeah. Gina Fiore says she can't find the show anywhere. I mean,
I just got a YouTube.
Huh?
I just got a YouTube thing. It's there. Let me see. I'll tell you in a minute.
It's on YouTube. Yeah, Sharon can see it, and it's on. I know it's on Facebook.
I'll go share it to Facebook, Gina, to my page.
We're also on. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. If you go to Twitter, you look for 5 Black Comics. We're on Twitch. So we are several places, Gina. So you can find us. Oh, I forgot to mention that we're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We've been on Twitter for 2 weeks. Twitch for 3 weeks or a month. So now you have no excuse to find our show. But I'm not sure how come Gina can't find our show.
There you go. I just put it up the link on my page under the little kids or somewhere. You'll find it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I was saying my mom's a minister. My mom was a minister. I was raised by a Baptist minister, one of the first women ordained in New York State, actually. And she did the Baptist South. I traveled with her from here to South to go preach in churches. So I've seen the gamut, literally. Yeah.
Can I say that I'm don't, because we're going to talk about the money aspect of this.
Yeah.
Basically, but I don't believe that if you serve God or the Lord or any, you should be poor. I don't believe that. So I want to say that up front. I don't think you can't serve the Almighty God and then not live by example. You can't be poor. Oh yeah, I pray to God, but I'm struggling to pay my bill. I'm poor, So I don't expect ministers to be poor because that wouldn't be right for a minister to be poor. But I want to read these numbers real quick, Carl and Tanya. Kenneth Copeland is at the top of the list. Is one of the richest preachers in America. Kenneth Copeland's net worth is $760 million. I'm going to say it again. Kenneth Copeland's net worth, and he's a white guy, $760 million. Number 2 is T.D. Jakes. We all know T.D. Jakes. T.D. Jakes is worth $150 million. Kind of lost my page here. Oh, number 3, we have David. I can't pronounce David's last name. Opiopo. He's worth $150 million. Pat Robinson's worth $100 million. Benny Hinn is worth $42 million.
What about Peter Popoff?
Peter's not on here.
What? All that water he gets for $2?
Yeah, Jesse Duplessis is worth $50 million. Joe Osteen worth $50 million. Creflo Dollar is worth $27 million. Rick Warren, $25 million. Joyce Meyer, the only lady on this list, is worth $25 million. Pastor Jamal Bryant, $20 million. Reverend John Hagee is worth $6 million. Paula White, $5 million. Bishop Noel Jones, $5 million. Okay, so yeah, that's the top.
He just got married too.
Yeah, so those are some of the top richest preachers, ministers in America. I'm just blown away at the $760 million price tag on Kenneth Copeland. I'm just shocked by that. That's just.
All right, let me jump on that a little there, Kev. What's up, information man? Just checked in and he's already commenting. He says, "Good point, Kev." He didn't call your name, but I know he's referring to you. Good point, but wasn't Jesus poor? Jesus didn't hang out with the rich and he didn't have a lot of money.
That's facts.
Well, can I just say this? Jesus was here for a purpose. He wasn't here to be rich. I mean, yes, Jesus was rich because he could have anything he wanted. So yes, he was rich. He just didn't portray his richness because he wasn't here to show his richness. Of course, Jesus was rich. He could have anything in the world he wanted, right? But he was here for a mission. So his mission was not to flaunt, his riches or his powers. I mean, he was here for a mission, not to flaunt his gold or whatever he could have, because he could have anything he wanted. We should know that, right?
Yeah. And information man also said, Dr. King died with no money fighting for us. What have these preachers done with all their money? So let me say this. And the reason that I believe if you're a preacher and you have millions of dollars, I think that money should be spent on the poor congregation, the people that need stuff. You don't need a Rolls Royce. What's wrong with a Honda Accord or a Toyota Camry or a Chevy or what? Why do you need if you are all about God and people? And I've always felt this way. And I heard a preacher say this, and I've heard many preachers say this: my earthly possessions mean nothing. My greatest reward are when I get to heaven. So why do you need a mansion and all that stuff? Take that money and help the poor, help the needy, help the people that need stuff. If you have 700 million, take 600 million and give it to people that you don't need 700 million. That's just my personal.
And I'm like I said, I'm not against the preacher having money, and as long as everybody else has money. Like Joel Osteen has, he drives a Ferrari and lives in a mansion. So my point is everybody in your congregation living like that?
That's what I was going to say.
It's okay for Joel Osteen to have that Ferrari, as long as the 20,000 people that attend his church every Sunday has a Ferrari or has the opportunity to have one. Right. You guys are praying to the same God. So if I'm praying to the same God that you're praying to, and I'm showing up in my broken down Honda, and you're driving off in a $275,000 Ferrari, then yeah, I got a problem with that. But
I gotta say, the church that I grew up in, most of our parishioners had just the same as the pastor did, which is what I like. But you don't find that anymore. If you go to most churches today, there's an uneven balance, especially if you go to certain areas. It's like, what happened here? And I don't know why everybody is willing to give up their last dime, their house mortgage, whatever, to the church, forgetting that it's an entity. It's a physical place. That's not where God is really at. He's in your heart, and he's by your actions. So I don't understand. People really think that, well, if I tithe and I give my tithe, yes, you want to tithe if the money's going to the community. Like I know the Quakers, they feed about 1,000 homeless people a month, the one in Brooklyn. So one of them in Brooklyn, there's many, but the one in Brooklyn. So I don't mind tithing to that because I know somebody's getting that money that needs it. But when you see Shirley Caesar's mansion, you're like, let's go talk to all her parishioners and see how this is working. It's not right.
Yeah.
Bishop T.D. Jakes has 30,000 members at his church, 30,000 members. And to be fair to T.D. Jakes, and he said he's made a lot of money. Most of his money's come from his book sales. He's also a producer, Hollywood producer. He's produced movies, of course, some pretty good movies, actually, and documentaries and movies and things like that. So he's a businessman. He's made most of his millions from his projects, not from, I don't think it comes from the 30,000 people that come to his church. I mean, I know they probably had most of that money that they give him or pay towards the church probably pays the lights and electricity and things like that. I'm sure, the bills around the church, but most of his millions, he's actually come out and said has come from his movies that he's done, his book sales and things like that from the books he's written.
I mean, I get that, but I always come back to this. If people that go to church are saying that getting to heaven is the ultimate, right? All this stuff we have on earth, all this fancy stuff, all these big houses mean nothing. The ultimate goal of going to church is to get to heaven. So why do you need that kind of cash in a bank account when you can be helping people with that money?
Well, they should. Yeah. I mean, remember Joel Osteen caught a lot of heat a couple of years ago with the hurricane, remember?
Yeah. Man, he
the
was
hurricane. Sorry. Tanya's watchdog. Somebody bring your house, Tanya? Okay. Tanya.
You know what I'm saying? So regardless of how you make your money, as a Christian, as a person that follows the Bible, that preaches the word of God, from what I hear from pastors, from what I hear from the Bible, is you're supposed to help people.
Yes.
And don't worry about anything because you're gonna get to heaven. And heaven is the ultimate, right? The ultimate euphoria. That's the ultimate place everybody's trying to get to. So if I had $1 million and I was a Christian, I would give away as much as I can and just keep enough to keep myself alive. I wouldn't need a Mercedes. I wouldn't need a Rolls Royce, because all I care about is getting to heaven. Because that's the whole point of going to church.
Well, I think the new. I'm sorry, Ty. I think the new prosperity preachers that we have now that teach prosperity are trying to teach people to live heaven here on earth. You shouldn't suffer here on earth just so you can get to some unknown place in the sky. So I'm not against living good on earth. I think you should have a Mercedes. You should have a mansion. You should have all the luxury things because I believe that, God wants you to have a good life. He wants you to be prosperous. It even says it in the Bible, you know, if you believe the Bible. So your God doesn't want you to suffer. He doesn't want you to have a bad life or not have materialistic things, Carl. He wants you to have nice cars. He wants you to have money to pay your bills. And he's giving you all of that, you know, your brain, your limbs, you know, everything is put for you here to put here for you to, you know, to work it out so you can provide for yourself. My thing is with these preachers, like you said, though, Carl, it's a catch-22 because if you got $760 million in your bank, I don't know what city Kenneth Copeland lives in, but I'm sure there's a ghetto there. And I'm sure there's a poor neighborhood somewhere there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you got $760 million, you living in a mansion, you call yourself a man of God, but 7 miles down the road from your church, with starving kids, then yeah, there's a problem with that. You damn right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
go ahead.
so like the one of the videos that I showed, the preacher that said, work for your money. If you have all this money before you start preaching, you're welcome to buy whatever you want. But if you got this money because the congregation gave it to you, I think you should take that money and help the congregation rather than spend most of it on yourself. But if you're a self-made man and you're making millions of dollars on the side and you're preaching on Sundays, by all means, drive whatever you want because it's your money. You made it.
Right.
When you're, you know what I mean? But when you're like a Joel Osteen, we have 20,000 people coming to your church and their donations is what's giving you your, you know what I mean, financial wealth. Then I don't see how you can, you know what I mean, in good conscience, drive around in a Ferrari when you know there's people in that congregation that barely have food in the refrigerator.
Yeah, but clearly they don't. I mean, here's the thing: we often forget that church, the concept of church was, I'll just say this, was created to give us hope. I want to say in that sense. So we already know there was a God. Yes, that's true. But I believe a lot of stuff that we were told during slavery was to keep us saying, you're going to get to heaven. When you get to heaven, you're going to get your millions when you get to the pearly gates. So it was made to keep us right here and be okay with being right here is what my opinion of it. And so, you know, it got us through slavery. It really did. A lot of people, I think, I don't know how they didn't just knock themselves off or something with the atrocities that we went through, but they didn't. And I believe it was because of church and praying. Like my father mother taught me, you know, no matter how bad it gets, it's never that bad because as long as you have faith and you keep your faith, you know, things will get better. So that's the part of the church that has locked us in so much because it has helped us mentally, physically. I mean, why you think most of us haven't gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs until now. Now you're starting to see the effects. We're getting serial killers, we're getting shooters, we're getting things that we never had before, right? And it's going to get worse as time goes by because people have lost their faith. So that part is real. But when you say the actual physical church and a man or a woman's there making billions of dollars, it's just crazy to me because not one of them stepped up for Katrina. And not one of the, well, maybe the local ones did. I don't know. Maybe some little local church did, but none of the big mega churches stepped up. And even Joel Einstein, whatever his name is, Joel Osteen,
yes,
is what made me stop watching him. He didn't want to let people come sleep in his church until he got slack for it. He was like, oh, I don't want to. And it was like, what? Oh, wait, you got how much? And you worried about some little rooms in your church? Are you kidding?
I started watching him after that too. I listen to him on the radio all the time and watch him.
Yeah, I was disappointed. Somalia right now, people over there starving. I mean, Sudan. Sorry, wait, where's that? Sudan. Sorry, I got the wrong countries. Oh Lord, they're over there starving right now. I ain't heard one pastor say, "Let me get on my plane, go over there and bring 30,000 pounds of rice." I'm making that up. You know what I'm saying? But nobody's done that, and that's where my problem is. It's okay if you have that. If, like you said, Carl, you're sharing that. Why don't none of these black churches get together and buy a bank, make a bank or something, or a college, or I don't know, whatever the things that will help communities do that, whatever that is.
Here's something called to make your head explode real quickly. Called it Creflo Dollar, brother minister, if you don't know who he is.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Creflo Dollar owns 2 Rolls Royces. Not one, 2 Rolls Royces, a private jet. He has $1 million home in Atlanta and a $2.5 million residence in Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Information man said exactly what I've always thought. Maybe they know there's no, maybe they think there's no heaven, there's no God, and they know, so they're trying to get as much as they can while they're here on earth because they know they're full of it
at our expense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. Some of them
they don't even go visit the city.
Are con men. They're con men.
Exactly. There it is.
They're con men. Yeah, they maybe they don't believe in God and they just just going, hey, it's just a hustle for me.
Yeah,
it's a hustle, And I'm sure I think some of them it is a hustle, and I think some of them do believe what they're preaching. They just got caught up in the thing, and they
how many are cheating?
Because some of them started out
cheating.
I think most ministers are like stand-up comedians, Most of us start out middle class or poor, as then we keep doing our thing and we end up, getting to the next level financially when we start doing movies and TV and stuff like that, right? So these guys are the same way. Most of these ministers start out with 5 or 7, 10 people watching them. And next thing you know, they got 20 people and they're preaching at their house. Next thing you know, they're building a small church, and that church gets too big. Now they got a bigger church. Next thing you know, they go from 200 people in the church to 500, from 500 to 1,000.
Exactly
it keeps growing because more people keep going. Hey, you hear about that guy, Carl Yard? He's man, let's go see him preach. And next thing you know, Carl Yard got 10,000 people. He got bigger. And then he got to find a building big enough, the whole 10,000 people. So I think it happens like that too sometimes. So I think some of these guys, I don't want to say all of them are con artists who don't believe in God. But I'm sure that you're absolutely right, Information Man and Carl. There are probably tons of them who just think it's a hustle. Yeah, it's a hustle.
Let me read a couple of comments. Say, Grandma Norma Staley, what's up, Grandma?
Hey.
Hey, everyone. Welcome, Tanya. Love you. God bless you all, Grandma. Norma, the church saved our lives from the white mob where I came from. Where I came from in the South. They helped the whole community.
Yes.
So
yes.
And Dr. King was poor, by the way, but he also had financial backing from Hollywood celebrities like Aretha Franklin and Sammy Davis Jr. and Sidney Poitier and of course Harry Belafonte. So he had a lot of Hollywood supporting him, paying his bills for him, so he was able to get buses and pay for his hotels when he went on the road. He didn't have to pay for these hotels because he had financial backing from Hollywood celebrities, to do his civil rights stuff. Him and his crew, because he traveled with people. He was Jesse Jackson and all the other people he traveled with. So he had to have hotel rooms for them and cars to travel in and planes and trains, however they got from city to city to city, and money for food and stuff. So a lot of Black Hollywood was there for Dr. King. So he was poor as far as not having a job and stuff like that, but he wasn't poor as far as Hollywood supported him. And from what I understand, when he died, he didn't have a lot of money in his bank account, but there were a few Hollywood celebrities that paid for his kids to go to college.
Yes.
Yeah.
Waylon B, what's up, Waylon? Waylon B says the churches are government-owned corporations, despite the so-called division of church and state. There is no better front for propaganda and conformity.
Thank you.
Church.
Well, yeah, we know that because you can see the Uncle Tom Black preachers who invite people like Trump into. Trump got a lot of Black preachers that showed up at the White House, right? Yeah. Trump had a lot of Black preachers show up at the White House.
Oh yeah.
But you haven't seen these guys since.
Well, hey, it's a clever marketing move. If you're smart enough to do it and they're dumb enough to go, then hey, why not? That's what I say. Because
so that's the point, Tanya. When do Black America take responsibility? Because Black America, we're gonna sit here and beat up on the preachers for their Rolls Royces and their airplanes and their mansions, because most of them are living like P. Diddy, right? but
P. Diddy has a little.
What about Black America, who are giving these guys their money with their tithes and offerings, right?
I know.
You're paying your tithes to somebody that's worth $760 million. You're giving your tithes to a guy that's a millionaire.
No, I refuse. I refuse.
Well, every day we spend money with millionaires every day, I guess. I mean, can we look at it that way? I mean,
most people do.
I mean, we go to Walmart. We're spending money with or Amazon.
I was just about to say
Jeff Bezos and all these guys are worth billions of dollars, and we give them money every day.
Yeah.
And they don't do shit for the black community either, right?
What's up? Jafaya called me old last week, so I'm gonna find out where you live.
Fight words. They're fight words.
That's all right. No worries. She said being a minister is a job just like any other. However, people like Creflo and his wide mouth wife Tappy get on my last nerve.
Tappy.
Tappy. She's got a wide mouth, I guess so. It's just it's a job, you know what I mean? And they got to get up there every Sunday, and they got to get people pumped up, and they get people to bring more money. You know what I mean? I actually went to
but it's actually not, to me, it's not really supposed to be a job. It's supposed to be a calling. There's a difference. If it's a job, that's why you have people with air jets and blah, 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 blah. If it's a calling, that may follow you, money may follow you, but it's a different mission in that you want your congregation to have just as much as you have, and you will do everything you can for your community. There's a difference. And you can tell, in my opinion, as soon as I walk into a church, what are you guys into? What are you doing? Oh, okay, never mind. Bye.
Right.
I mean, I'm become a preacher next week. I'm letting y'all know that
exactly.
now.
I was like, I'm about to get on the preaching wagon, y'all.
But the emphasis seems to be on money.
Not just money, but monies and honeys. Because go look at how many are infidelity in the congregation, baby. Right in the congregation with their church members, wives, husbands, this and that. It's a mess.
There's a guy, I don't know if anyone's ever seen him. I don't know if you've seen him, Tanya or Kev, or anyone watching. He comes on but he's on at like 1 a.m. Don't ask me why I'm up at 1 a.m.
Pop off?
Don't worry about it. No, but this guy, he says if you plant a seed of $1,000, you're gonna get it back 1,000-fold, 10,000-fold. The bigger the seed you plant. You seen that guy?
I see that guy. Yeah.
I'm on that late.
Yeah, you plant. He calls it planting the seed. If you plant a
seed.
I
know you're talking about. And who's the guy you mentioned with the
Pop-off.
Yeah, that's him.
I bought his water for $1.
Yeah, Peter Popoff. Yes, probably got that. Probably got that water from Peter Popoff water.
Ever since I got that $1 water, I'll tell you right now. But my mama told me all you got to do is go pray over it.
That's Jafai's apology. No, it's fine. I don't mind you call me old. I am old. Yeah, I'm not old. I'm older. I don't mind. I'm a comedian. I rag on people as my job, so I can't get mad when somebody says something. Trust me, I'm not easily offended. I'm not easily offended. You're talking to a guy who got called the N-word, and I asked the guy if that made him happy. Old white guy used the N-word, blasted the N-word at me.
Wow.
Yeah, and I said, "You happy?" And he go, "Yeah." And so if I wasn't offended by that, then
yeah, that's
you're better
than me because I would have been laying them. Look, Chris Rock situation.
I mean, the story was that it was back when they had payphones, and I was in Boston. I was in Fine Lee's basement. You know, there was a payphone. I was calling I think it was calling my sister or my mom. So I was going to use a payphone, and it looks like he was going to use the payphone the same time. We both reached for it, but I got it first. And he said I was going to use it. I said, "Well, I got here first."
Oh, that's why. That's why he called you the N-word. Yeah. I would have called you it too.
So first he said that you're black bastard, and then he threw out the N-word.
Because he knew that black bastard didn't bother you.
It didn't bother me.
Because you knew you had a dad. You knew you had a good dad.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And I think I wasn't in the country probably a couple of months. So the racist book hasn't sinked in yet. If I heard that now, it'd be a different response. Right. You know what I mean? But he got the new Caribbean Fresh, Carl.
The 2.0.
Yeah, he got the fresh. Fresh off the boat, Carl. Because he I can tell like he was waiting for me to respond. You know what I mean? He said it.
That's exactly why he said it.
He was waiting for me to do something.
Because I would reach out to AT&T commercial.
I'm on my iPad as you guys are chatting. I'm on my iPad.
Yeah.
I'm looking at preachers right now, and this guy popped up on my iPad. Said he says, "Hello, how can I help you today? Ask me anything."
Oh God. Like, can you help me?
And he has a booking fee right here too. It says booking fee. Call 866 400 2030. Yeah, so it's like, like a comedian. You got a booking fee, man.
You know how many people do that and get money?
Well,
Like literally get money. It's crazy. Anybody can call themselves a pastor. I've seen people get called that was out hoeing, smoking, doing all kinds of stuff, and then all of a sudden they woke up and says, "I was called to preach." I was like, "And when was that? From last week when you were out with the pastor, or was it the week before when you were?"
So funny about
men. Which one is it? I'm sorry.
so funny about that, Tanya, was gospel comedy became big.
Yes, I know. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm done.
A lot of comedians became these gospel comedians performing church shows, and they're making some pretty good money.
Yes.
And I knew a lot of these guys, and they were getting paid doing these church gigs.
Yes.
But I know these comics, right? I know these guys. And I'm like, man, these dudes are frauds, man. I know these cats, man. They are big frauds. They go into the church, and I know these guys personally, And I'm like, man, these guys making thousands of dollars doing these church gigs. Yeah. I know them personally. I know what they do, man. I know their lifestyle. So they frauds, man. So it's big business. It's business, brother.
Yeah, Yvonne Williams wants to know why am I up at 1 o'clock in the morning? I was reading my Bible, Yvonne. I was reading. So I was reading.
Buying holy water from Peter Popoff.
Peter Popoff. He was waiting. I'm waiting for Peter Popoff to get my blessing water.
That's how his voice is too. Take this water and put it on your head.
Put it on your head.
Your life will change. And send me $1,000. God got a gift for you.
Yes, the Lord will bless you.
Yeah, I was reading 2 Corinthians, as Donald Trump would say, 2 Corinthians.
2 Corinthians. Did you say Corinthians?
Jafia says, my tithes to God is my time. Money is not the only way to tithe. God wants your time as well.
Exactly. Thank you.
That's one of the biggest tithes ever. Yeah.
You got it.
Yes.
Some people don't get that part. They think, oh, let me just pay. Yeah. And they don't get the whole concept of what need needs to be fulfilled that God would want me to help with.
Oh, I remember I did go to a church a long time, but I remember the collection plate came around 3 times.
Oh yeah, they always do.
3 times this collection plate around.
And don't let it be
They didn't like the first. I mean, to send it around the pass, and the more it went around, the harder the band played more music and more. Got everybody. Come on, everybody! Everybody's jumping up and down, and the pastors.
They look at you if you don't put none in. They'll be like,
"Yeah."
I'll be like this. Look, I'll be like this.
And don't try to make change either. Yeah.
There was a funny scene in what was it? I think it was in Sanford and Son, when he passed the head to Fred, he did like this. He put nothing even.
I'm blessing the blessing. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're gonna move on. We had 2 topics to touch on tonight. The second one, this one is kind of rough. I mean, Patrick Leoya, African. Seems like his family moved here from the Congo of Africa.
Yeah.
And he was pulled over by the police. And I showed the video earlier. I'm going to show it again. It's not graphic, but you get a sense of what happened. And we will chat about it. It's
here at home tonight, and to graphic videos released late today showing the deadly police shooting of a black man following a traffic stop in Michigan. Video now showing an officer on top of the driver during a struggle. The officer then pulling out his gun and firing. Here's Steve Osunsami.
Stay in the car! Stay in the car!
Police in Grand Rapids, Michigan, who've been accused of hiding details in this case, say tonight they're sharing all the video they have.
No. Stop. Put your hands right.
The video from the officer's body camera and dash camera, from a cell phone and from a security camera recording from across the street, all show the moment when the unidentified officer pulls over 26-year-old Patrick Leoya in the morning of April 4th. What started with a license plate that wasn't registered to the vehicle turned into a struggle when the 26-year-old tried to run and then fought with this police officer in front of witnesses and cameras.
Stop. Okay.
You see them struggle over the officer's stun gun even as the officer fires it. In the last few moments, the officer is on top of the man and then pulls out his gun and fires.
Drop taser!
The police chief confirmed today that his officer shot the young man in the head and says he's not identifying the officer since he hasn't been charged.
There is an entire investigation being conducted by the Michigan State Police, which I do not have access to by design for conflict of interest.
The attorney for the victim's family says he was an African immigrant who was confused by the encounter and terrified for his life. We demand that the officer who killed Patrick not only be terminated, but be arrested and prosecuted. Police say the officer is a 7-year veteran of the Grand Rapids police force. He is on paid leave tonight. Attorneys for the victim's family speak tomorrow. David?
Steve Osunsami tonight. Thank you, Steve.
Wow.
All right. Let me say this, and I've said this 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 more. Okay. The reason, you know what? Let me show this one other video because I want to talk about this a bit too. Okay, where is it? Here we go.
Hi, I'm Tatiana Ali. I'm an actress. I'm a Black maternal health advocate. I am a mom of 2 beautiful Black baby boys. I started doing work in this space while I was expecting my second baby. And that is because of my experience in the hospital with my first baby. I had a very healthy pregnancy. And when we got to the hospital, all that changed. I experienced coercion. I experienced abusive language and very abusive touch. And that all culminated into an emergency C-section and my son spending his first week of life at the NICU. I found out later that all of that was preventable, is preventable. Black women are 3 times more likely than their white counterparts to die during childbirth. Think about that. And that says nothing about the treatment that we get when we enter into the healthcare system for our pregnancies. I cannot tell you how many stories I have heard that are just like mine. And then at worst, I'm talking to the family members of a mama who's been lost. And like I said, it's all preventable. 60% of those deaths didn't have to happen. So I am so happy that Pampers and Rock the Bells have decided to uplift diverse voices, center Black women in this journey, and organizations that are doing this work. On Thursday, I'm going to put up another post with an opportunity for you to help out. So look out for that. I am just, I got to tell you, so grateful that the alarm bells are ringing and that people are listening. And, you know, you can kind of guide yourself to different places and spaces where you can get the care that you deserve. And that's what I was able to do with the birth of my second son, Alejandro. And I just want that for everybody. I want those choices for everybody. We can do this. You're loved, mama. You know, don't be scared by all of these statistics and these headlines. That doesn't have to be your story. There are other ways.
All right. So the title of that video was "What Police Do to Black Men, Doctors Do to Black Women." And the video before that, I showed a white policeman on top of a Black man. Clearly, a Black man wasn't armed. He probably got a hold of the cop's taser, but you can't die from being tased. And I mean, I'm sure if the cop had pulled his gun and said, you know, drop it or whatever, but he pulled his gun and shot this brother in the back of his head at close range. Just shot him in the back of the head. Listen, I know I always say there's a certain percentage of white people in America who do not like black people. And no matter what we do, no matter how much we protest, no matter how much we sing, no matter how much we say we shall overcome, they just, as the great comedian Godfrey said it, they just don't like black people. There is a certain group of white America who do not like black people. And for some reason, it seems to be all in the police department. Most of them seem to be in the police department. Or, I mean, the police are in a position where they can kill us and not be held accountable for it. And I showed a video with the Tatiana Ali. She was on the Fresh Prince, and she was in the hospital having a baby. She said she was abused verbally and physically. 60% of black women die during childbirth, and they don't have to. They just die for the simple fact that they're black and nobody gives a shit. That's why.
Hey, Carl, there was a story. I don't know if everybody's familiar with it, but Serena Williams, almost died having her. She was pregnant, and I think she gave birth. I don't want to get facts wrong, but she gave birth, and she was having complications, and she kept calling her doctor, for help, and the doctor kept blowing her off, going, it's just normal. And she goes, no, this is not normal. But then she went and sought help on her own. And the doctor that helped her said, thank God you came in, because if you didn't, you would have died.
Me too. Same thing.
Yeah. So that's just a perfect example of, here's a woman who's one of the most famous people in the world and super rich. And she couldn't get help from a doctor. She couldn't get help from a doctor. She's begging for help because she knew her body. She kept saying, no, something's wrong. And the doctor was like, nothing's wrong. It's normal. She goes, no, something's wrong. So she sought professional help from another doctor. And that doctor said, thank God you got help, because if you didn't get this treated tonight, you probably would have died, or something like that. So yeah, everybody Google that story. But yeah, that's, she's one of millions. I almost bled out. I got mine in video, and I didn't even know that I could have sued them until after. But I don't even know how I'm alive, honestly. So, and thank God my daughter's father is very astute and was like, wait a minute, that's not right. Something's not right. If it wasn't for him, I'd probably be dead, because I couldn't see what was happening, but nobody takes us serious. That's why. And getting back to the cop killing real quickly, guys. I want to bring this up too, because we might as well bring this up since we talk about cops killing black people. Stockton, California, police officer fired 30 shots into a car, killing a black woman. This happened on February 12th.
Yes.
The body cam footage was just released like a week ago. Yeah, so
nobody's paying attention to how many of us are dying.
Because there's so much crap going on. Nobody, this is not making front page anymore, because we're becoming so sensitized to this type of stuff that, it's like the George Floyd burnout. So everybody's like, we ain't gonna march anymore, because we already marched summer of 2020 for George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. So, I guess everybody's burnt out with marching or protesting, but it's not even making the news anymore. A cop fires 30 shots and kills a woman. A white officer shoots 30 shots into a car and kills a black lady. And it doesn't even make the front page of the newspaper.
It's crazy. Yep.
That's crazy.
We already had 241 this year.
Do you need 30 shots to take anybody down, especially a woman? 30 shots. Actually, and this guy still has a job. He hasn't been fired. Wow. The family is saying that the lady didn't have a criminal history, but she was depressed because she had just broke up with her boyfriend. So she was going through a breakup, and she was going through a depression. So she was 50 miles from her home. She lives. It's happened in Stockton. It's happened 50 miles from her house. Right. So they said she's probably out driving, having a bad day because she was struggling with this breakup. So she's going through depression. So cops, and then they shoot.
Well, it's because they don't have any mental health training. That's number one at all. And that's why they shot that other black guy. Remember, the family had called for mental health, and what was that? I forgot where it was at, but they just literally rolled up and shot him, knowing that you're being called to a wellness check because someone is mentally ill. Don't you have a procedure for that? Like that's a mental health professional should be called in to figure out how can we get this person to be talked down or talked around or something. You can't go in with a gun drawn, because that's the first thing someone who's suicidal or homicidal is going to be thinking, like, "Ooh, I just hit the lotto." That's not how you respond. So
And this guy reloaded his gun. Apparently, to this article, he reloaded his gun and fired at her again.
Well, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. And Waylon B just said, and 2 weeks ago, prior, a white woman ran over 4 cop cars in a Hummer and not one shot fired. Remember I told you? That happened in Bridgeport, right here in Connecticut.
Yes.
Yeah, not one shot fired. Yeah. So basically, they can find restraint when they want to.
Yes.
And we saw that in 3D on January 6th, 2021, U.S. Capitol, correct?
A lot of restraint.
Yeah. Cops always say, well, I fear for my life.
Yeah. Then nobody.
You didn't fear for your life on January 6th, because every police officer gets on CNN now to talk about how traumatic it was.
Nope. And what about they didn't even come for the defense of the one that got killed? They didn't even come for his defense. Why?
Yeah.
That's what I like to know.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a double standard, because you have people attacking you with tear gas and bear spray and pipes and everything else on January 6th. And you found a way to be, restrained from pulling your service revolver and busting a cap in the ass. But with black people, even unarmed, you just go get shot no matter what. You're unarmed, you'll get shot.
Yeah,
well, let me just say,
black people are dying in droves all over the world, and it's by design.
It's a genocide. It's a genocide. And this stat here says, from Crime Society, Crime and Law Enforcement, I think is the name of the thing. It's from their research department. Says that the fatal police shootings in the United States seems to be only increasing, with a total of 241 civilians have been shot. They said 14 of whom were black, but that's not true. Because I can count more than 14 on my hand from last year, and there's way more than that. As of April 2022, there are 1,055 fatal shootings. And in 2020, there were 1,021. So it's going up apparently. But the problem I'm having is they're not. No one's look at that song. The guy. Remember that song? We need used to play it. He would tell. Yeah, he used to name all the people killed. Yeah. Just listen to that and watch those posters alone, and you'll be like, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people in such a short time, and they're all in the same age range. And it's mostly men. It's all black and it's mostly men. Now, I'm not saying white people don't get shot. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it's when they get shot. Oh, you literally took the gun, put it to the head, and then they got busted, and that's how you got shot. It's got to be some unusual circumstances. But for us, it's just I was at a traffic light. I was sleeping in my bed. I was sleeping on my couch. It's like there's no
eating ice cream like Jotin Bond. Eating ice cream, eating ice cream in his house and get shot. Sitting at the table eating ice cream, watching the news.
It's crazy. It's me. If you're gonna do it across the board, then I would say, okay, people are getting shot. We need to stop the cops from shooting all people. But right now, it just appears to me that there is a genocide going on with black men, particularly, and black women just get caught up in the matrix, whatever, like traffic or something like that. They get caught up in the matrix. But there seems to me, it's just another form of genocide.
I mean.
I know it's not every cop, so I don't want to say that either. But if you got one bad one on, he's bad and you're not doing nothing about it, guess what?
But there's video after video after video of white people fighting with cops, punching cops.
Remember the one we saw?
Yeah, taking the cops' guns, stealing the cops' car. And still not getting shot. Not getting
no fear.
No fear. Then there's video
no fear for their life.
The white guy that killed 2 people, the police chased him down, they handcuffed him. Sat him on the ground. It was a hot day, so they gave him water. You know what I mean?
What about when they showed up at the mall with the kid fighting, the black kid fighting with the white kid the white kid started the fight.
Yeah.
They showed up, tried to get the black kid to the ground, let the white kid just chill out and sit down. He had a gun.
And the most famous one of all, taking
burgers,
which called the Burger King.
Yes.
The roof to Burger King.
Burger King, come on, we're going to give you a Happy Meal. Thank you. But people just lost their lives. Thank you very much.
I mean, okay, we all know this. We all see it. You know what I mean? We're here talking about it. Don't the people in the black churches see all this stuff? Why don't they take all that money and open a hospital so black women can go to a hospital and be treated? 60% of black women die in childbirth and don't have 60%. That's more than half. That's thousands of women that die every year. Thousands. I mean, nobody's paying attention to that.
No, that's why it's better to have your baby at home, pretty much, with a doula.
You know, so obviously we got to get away from these hospitals that have mostly white doctors, because you don't, as Muhammad Ali once put it, and if you saw that interview with Muhammad Ali, the guy was asking something about racism, and he said, if 10,000 snakes are coming down the street and there's 1,000 snakes that love him, but the other 9,000 hate him, is he supposed to trust, you know what I mean, which snakes are going to bite him or which one, you know what I mean? You see, we saw that. Yeah, I mean, how do we know? We don't know. I mean, they're Jewish memorial hospitals, right? Chinese have their hospitals. The Indians have their hospitals. Why don't black people have a hospital? It's not racist. I mean, those people know why they have their own hospitals, because the Jews want to be taken care of by Jews because they trust them. They feel more comfortable with Jews. The Indians, the same thing. The Chinese, the same thing. But for black people, seem we just I don't know what's wrong with us. Like,
because we could build a black mega church before we could build a bank or a shopping center.
Yes, or food place.
But even a hospital, they can make money from a hospital. You run a hospital, you can make money from a hospital.
A food, you can make money from grocery stores. That's $1 trillion business. All that. But we don't have it because nobody's, once they get their money.
I mean, we don't have the mental capacity to. I mean, I don't get it. I really don't fucking get it. I don't get it. I mean, what else do we need to see? Seriously, what else do we need to see? A black man shot in the back and had point blank range. There was no need for that. There's absolutely no need for that brother to be shot in the back of the head.
Well, wait. The thing about that is, they said that he turned off his camera. Well, here's the thing: he had time to reload his gun, and he turned it off. If you have time to turn off your camera, then how did you have time? How do you get scared? Like, how, you know what I'm saying? Like, how would you? I can't explain it, but if you're in the middle of an emergency, right? How do you have time to do this? And they said, someone said there was a way to do this, and that it had to take time for him to do that, to turn off that body cam. It's not as easy as like just flick and that's it. While you're struggling with somebody, if you thought your life was in danger, how'd you have time to turn it off? You had it not your mind premeditated. You were going to pop him in the head, because they said he held it to the back and popped him. So it wasn't like he could have shot at the leg. He had opportunity to.
He could have jumped off his back and take a few steps back and pointed his. He could have. There's lots he could have done. But they hate us. They hate us. They just. Godfrey said it. They just don't like black people. And what do we do? How do we navigate this earth around these people that want us dead? Every day we leave our house and we go outside and we walk amongst people who want us dead. That's what we do.
I think you have to. I think we got to continue to try to hold them accountable. I don't think there's enough angry people. Like, so there's people protesting down there where this happened, but there's not enough. You know, it's not enough.
Well, that's because, there's
not enough athletes. There's not enough famous people. I mean, we got more people pissed at Will Smith than they are for slapping Chris Rock, than they are mad about this guy getting shot in the back of his head,
Well, they're probably saying because he fought and he ran away. He did all the things that's just as they say in Trump land. You're not supposed to run away from the cops. That's just it.
Oh, yeah. See that all over Facebook. Why do you keep running? That's all we see on Facebook. Why do you keep running? Why you just don't comply with the cops? Yeah, comply with the cops.
You'll be beat if you comply. I'm a witness to that. So I'm
just I'll answer that. You know what I mean? Listen, after a day of dealing with all the little microaggressions, you know what I mean? You go into the store, you get followed. You know what I mean? You deal with bullshit. If you have a day job, you deal with bullshit. You're not getting promoted. You know what I mean? You get all this other bullshit, and now to be pulled over by a police officer, it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, just leave me. I just don't want to be bothered. I've been pulled over by police, and I wanted to say, just fucking leave me alone, because I just dealt with a whole bunch of shit because of people that look like you, and I was dealing with that shit because the way I look. and now I got to deal with you pulling me over. Of course, he doesn't know what's going on in my mind, but it's like, you know what I mean? I just don't want to deal with you. I just don't want to deal with another fucking white person up my ass today.
I got pulled over about 3 weeks ago, man. I'm in Southern Maryland on my way to my hotel room after the show. And I'm about probably 10 miles from my hotel. And I see the cop lights. And it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. And cop pulls me over. So I pull over. And I'm in Maryland. So I called Patricia. For people that don't know, that's my lady. I called Patricia and say I just got pulled over by a cop. He's behind me. So I put my phone down and had my interior lights on. So, and it was a female cop. She walked up. I think she was Hispanic or something like that. She walked up to the passenger side window. Said I was going over the line. That's why she pulled me over. But she rode behind me for about 5 miles. I saw when she bucked the U to get behind me. And first thing she asked me was, you have New York tags.
Yep.
So she brought up the fact that I had New York tags at 1 o'clock in the morning in Southern Maryland. And the only thing you care about is my tags.
Right.
Then you make the excuse that I went over the white line, which I didn't, by the way. So I knew she just wanted to find out, because why were New York tags in that area? Because that Southern Maryland, for people that don't know, it's very country part of Maryland outside of Washington, D.C. About 40 miles outside of Washington, D.C., but it's very country.
Did you stole the car?
No, I think she, because
it's a nice car. That's what I'm thinking.
That area is, thank you. That area is very, very Caucasian.
Right.
And it's a lot of drugs down there. White people do drugs big time.
Right.
Okay, just not get it twisted. Southern Maryland is a big time, there's a lot of drugs down there. That's all, because that's what they do. Drugs and drink like crazy. So cops down there have a field day, But I guess saw New York tags at 1 o'clock in the morning in that neck of the woods. She wanted to know who was behind the wheel of that car. So she ran my license, didn't give me a ticket,
that's good.
Didn't even give me a sobriety check. I went over the line a couple of times, she said, but she didn't didn't offer me a sobriety check.
Yeah.
Because she didn't pull me over for no line. So if I went over the line, that's why she was worried. She didn't have me get out the car for a sobriety check, right?
Yeah.
She didn't care about that. She just wanted to know who was driving a car with New York tags that time of morning in that neck of the woods. That's all she cared about. And once she ran my license, it came back clean. So drive safe to your hotel. Because I told her I was a comedian. I just left my gig, on my way to my hotel. And so, yeah. But, she just want to check me out. That's all. But I was scared to death because you just, you have a woman cop at that, that got me pulled over on the side of the road at 1 o'clock in the morning. When I got to my hotel room, I had to think about calling Tanya. It was, why would she risk her life for something so stupid?
Right. That's what I'm thinking too.
Don't you want to get home to your family? And you didn't see me run out of bank with a bag of money or anything. I mean, you just risk your own life for something so stupid. Because I could have been the worst person in the state of Maryland that night. I could have been a cold-blooded killer.
Right. Right. She didn't know. Right.
And you risk not getting home to your family over something so stupid. I went over the yellow line.
Jafaya asked, she said there are no Asian or Indian hospitals in New York. When I say hospitals, I meant like medical centers. You know what I mean? Not like a big, huge hospital, but there's Asian, centers, medical centers where Asians go, all the Asians go, and there's Indian medical centers. So, yeah, I didn't mean like a big, huge, functioning hospital,
like a Mount Sinai.
Right, nothing like that. So let me clarify that. Jafaya says she's gonna shut up because she's monopolizing the chat. No, you're not.
Yeah, it's okay.
No.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate you, chiming in. But what else can we say about these police shootings? They just don't friggin'. We make them nervous. You know what I mean? They're not comfortable. You know what I mean? I was watching the video and a woman was saying that when a black woman walks into a room, the energy she brings to the room you can watch all the energy drained from the other people that are in the room. Because the black woman's energy, just all the attention just immediately goes to that black woman.
Because black attracts attention.
Yeah.
Even in fabric, what all the little dust, everything goes.
Yeah, they just, you know what I mean? So I don't know if there's anything, if we have any answers, if there's anyone that have any answers, other than, you know what I mean, our own freaking country, you know? It's like, what do we do? Seriously, like, you know what I mean?
There's nothing you can do.
Nothing
we
can
have
do.
seen video after video of white people harassing, cussing, punching, fighting with, grabbing the police gun and not get shot. You know,
that's what was my mind is that one we saw with the guy. He said, "Come on, Tommy, you don't want to do this."
Yeah,
Tommy. I was like, he has a gun to your head. Like, what part do we not? The police officer.
The NBA playoffs is on right now. If every NBA player was to say that's in this NBA playoffs, which generates millions of dollars for TNT and all these other networks, if they were to say, "Look, we ain't shooting not one damn basketball into this police officer is fired and arrested for shooting this dude in the back of his head." That's how stuff will get done.
No,
but
they don't care. It have to be the
that's
baseball.
not going to, and I hate to put that on the back of these basketball players, but that's the only way, Carl and Tanya, that there would be any change in America. It's till the people that have power use their power. Right now, the NBA playoffs is on. I'm a big NBA fan.
Yeah.
I love this show, The Five Black Comments. That's why I'm doing it. But I'm missing the playoffs right now. But that's okay, because this is important. But my point is this. If those players who are all multimillionaires were pissed about this brother being shot in the back of the head as we are, then they would do something about it. I don't have that power.
Well, you know, it's hard to be pissed when you call up your bank and it goes, "You have $43 million in your checking account."
You should still be pissed that a police officer shot a black man in the back of the head, because you know why? That $43 million is not going to stop you from getting shot in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Your son from getting shot in the back of the head, or your daughter from being killed in a jail cell like Sandra Bland.
Right.
You know?
Well,
I'm just saying, all these rich millionaires, black millionaires, have brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and friends that aren't safe in these streets because of police brutality. So they should be pissed. No matter how much their bank account says.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Go ahead, Tanya. I'm sorry.
No. It's okay. Well, another thing was I didn't realize also that the language barrier was the issue of why he probably was even more scared, because he probably heard on TV, you know, oh my God. But here's my thing too. We have to be able to do things like I'm not going to drive in a car that has a different plate if I'm in an area, or if I'm driving around. But that's because me as a woman, and then as a black woman, I have to always feel like, okay, I did my due diligence, so this is what I'm going to. So if I do end up getting shot and killed, at least everybody can say, well, she did everything right. What happened? But I will not be riding around in a car with a plate that don't match, or tinted windows that are beyond the tint. I just won't do none of that, because I just don't want no reason for, you know, my kids not to sue nobody. So, you know, it's sad. It's a very sad case. But now that I know what the language barrier explains why he was tussling and probably like freaking out, like, oh my God, this is it. But instead of not like us, we know right away, like, all right, let's just let him get us to the station. If we're alive, we're good. You know, somebody else who just came here might be like, oh my God, what is going on? Is this real? I've never heard such thing. Because, you know, the mother said, I thought I'd be safe in this country. I don't know why she thought that. I don't know where she got that from. But I know in Africa, they're also killing black men. So maybe she felt that this was a little bit better, you know, more opportunities maybe. Which
it's supposed to be the land of opportunity, you know.
It's supposed to be. It's no longer.
A lot of foreigners come here. I mean, you know, people come here from other countries for the American dream, you know. And
there's no more dream.
They don't expect to. They don't expect to be gunned down by a police officer, you know.
Guess what? If you have a black son,
Carl wasn't born in America. Carl came to America. He's here. He don't expect to get shot in the head by a police officer. You know, he's here for the American dream. He's here to work.
No, according to what you're too old. He won't bother him. They won't bother him. But if you got some sons, you better be on the lookout and always have them across their T's and dot their I's. Unfortunately, it's sad to say, but if you are a black man in America and you in a car, good luck.
That's funny as shit, Kanye.
Yeah, I mean, I am baffled as to black people with the money and the capacity and the power, whatever they have, that could do something, why they're not doing anything.
And that's all I was saying. Yeah,
they're doing what they would need for themselves.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing.
But we're all sitting ducks. We're all sitting ducks, though. Even they are sitting ducks. I mean,
oh yeah, look at
they might not feel like it, but everybody, you'll get pulled over in your Lamborghini. Also, Will Smith tells a story about him being pulled over by the LAPD years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And how he was harassed. The cops knew who he was. They didn't give a shit. They pulled him over.
Probably even more so because they're like, "What's this so and so doing with this kind of?"
They gave a hard time,
Mm-hmm.
So it just, rich people aren't no different than people who aren't rich. As far as you get pulled over by a cop, they'll give you a hard time. So
I mean, look at the video. The girl Tatiana Ali, she's got some bucks, and they didn't give a shit. You talk about Serena Williams, she got bucks.
They don't care. Yeah, she got real bucks. That's the Reddit, whatever. She got bucks. Tennis bucks and Reddit bucks. She's a buck. But they don't care. I'm telling you, I was at actually I could say it because it's closed now. One of the hospitals in the city. Is it Long Island Hospital? It's closed now. I think it's closed. But yeah, I don't know what happened, and that one was my second kid. But if it wasn't for my daughter's father saying, "Wait a minute, I think something's going wrong here," and then they're they just do dumb things. I'll tell you that, just dumb. You don't notice that someone's bleeding out, like really, things like that. But they're like, "Oh, just calm down, relax." I'm like, "I'm giving birth." It's like, there's a human being coming out of me, but they don't get it. It's,
Yvonne Williams Simmons says, and she's married to a white man. Serena, right? She's married to a white man. Yeah.
But they in love.
Yeah. What's up, Sherry? Sherry Ross, my friend, just checked in. Sherry's one of the people on my cool white people list. I have a list of cool white peeps.
Cool.
Sherry are very high on my list of cool white peeps. So I mean, we've talked about what she's like.
For whatever it's worth, Serena dated a lot of brothers, by the way.
Yes.
Before she got married to a white guy, she dated a lot of black guys.
I'd rather her have that guy she has now than Common, but that's another story.
Yeah. Jafai says rich black people are definitely not immune to the white man's wrath, which is true. Love you too, Sherry.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So what did you learn tonight, Tanya? Anything you want to add?
Well, my parting words is if you are giving birth, make sure that you have a doula and try to do that at a private hospital if you have the money. If you don't, make sure you got somebody on your team in the room with you that will fight to the end. That notices things, notices something's wrong. Very important. And as far as the shooting, I tell everybody, there's nothing we can do. Obviously, we're just getting shot, and there is no plan that we can make that will stop it from happening. Clearly, even after George Floyd, there's still guys that were choked in the neck. Actually, there was a guy who was choked, but that's another story. And they didn't even mention that case at all. And I don't know if he's white or Spanish or something. I don't know what he was, but that was a horrific case. And he was like 2 months before Floyd. They're just bringing it up because the family's suing. But that's another story. But so the bottom line is you can't pre-plan for that. Like there's nothing I can say. I'd like to say, don't do tinted windows. Make sure your license plates match. Make sure you go the right speed. But even if you do that, we still get killed. So it doesn't matter. I'm telling my dog, give him a cue. Stop it. So I guess there's nothing else. If you're giving birth, have a doula in the room or somebody in the room that knows about, when there's emergencies coming up, have someone advocate for you. And if you're driving, if you're a black male, I pray for you. No, make sure you do your due diligence. You know what I'm saying? Cross your eyes, cross your T's, dot your I's. I said that wrong. That's all. There's really nothing to do.
Something like that.
Yeah. Nothing you can do. Nothing.
Yeah. Kev, anything party?
Since summer of 2020, since the George Floyd murder and the Breonna Taylor murder, I didn't Google this to get the exact numbers, but the murder of Black people in America at the hands of police officers have been at a steady rate since that big summer. So obviously protesting, giving George Floyd a statue and putting his picture up on walls and having Black Lives Matter mirrors in different cities on the streets and stuff like that. None of it has stopped police officers from shooting and killing us.
No.
I don't have an answer.
Yeah.
I just think that it has to start with the people that have power. And I ain't talking about the politicians. In America, Carl, the most important things in America is money, celebrity, and sports. And until our Black celebrities and Black athletes, the ones who are up there, boycott what they're doing to entertain America on the basketball court, the football field, the TV shows, whatever the case may be, until they say we're not shooting no more ball, we're not running no more pigskin, we're done with this until something's done. Because honestly, that's what moves America. It's the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is the biggest day in America. You know,
Yeah.
but no Black football players are going to say, hey, we're not coming to the Super Bowl until these police officers are held accountable.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. When you got that kind of money in your bank account, I guess I'm assuming it's hard for them to give a shit because, you know.
I mean, you might be right, brother. You might be right.
All those strippers you're paying for and all those lovely $1 million house, $5 million houses.
They all don't have the mentality of like a Muhammad Ali or Malcolm X. You know, because Muhammad Ali said, I can't be happy in my big mansion and all my fancy cars knowing that my people are suffering.
Yeah, you know what? And there's no more Muhammad Ali's, man. And
no more Malcolm X.
No more Ali's, man. That's why we're still talking about Ali, because he was a different dude, man.
Yep.
He's a different dude.
There's no more.
If every athlete thought like Muhammad Ali, we probably wouldn't be getting shot right now.
Nope.
So yeah, that's my answer to that. As far as the preachers living like rock stars, you know, man, Black people, you know, got to hold them accountable too. You know.
Yes, especially when they be having the politicians come in your church, they ain't gonna do nothing for you.
Take some of that money. We don't need Trump or Biden or anybody to build a playground in our neighborhood when you got 2 Rolls Royces. Build your own damn playground. If you can afford 2 Rolls Royces, you can afford to get a playground, a gym built so kids can go shoot basketball and take karate lessons in the afternoon instead of being on the streets this summer, you know? So when you know, Dallas, Texas, a lot of these mega churches are in Dallas. I noticed that a couple of these mega churches are in Dallas, in Texas area. So there should be no hoods in Texas. You know, that's all I'm saying. There's enough mega churches there to pay for everybody in the ghetto to have a home and a car and somewhere nice to live. But these cats want to have $760 million net worth, and your church is 7 miles from the hood. I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, my parting words are: if you're an Asian, I suggest you get an Asian doctor. If you're Black, try to get Black doctors. We go to the hospital. Jewish, try to get Jewish, because I think when people look like you can connect more with the person, you know, whether it's a doctor or whatever you're doing. People seem to feel more comfortable with people that look like them. So, you know, because I recently started going through some stuff, and the doctor I had was Indian, and I really didn't feel he was connected with me. So I switched my doctor to a Black doctor, and immediately I felt connected. Unfortunately, the specialist in the area that I'm being treated for, the doctor is white, and his his suggestion was some kind of radical surgery, you know.
Of course.
And I started throwing out other options to him that I read about. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that." And I'm telling him how to treat me. So you know what I mean? He didn't give me. He gave me one option, which was surgery, which I'm sure made him a bunch of money because he's a surgeon.
Right.
But there were other options that I have, and I brought it up to him, and now he started agreeing with me. And he said, "Oh, there were other doctors in that area that can help you." I'm like, "So why didn't you tell me that in the first place?
Right.
Why were you going to give me some radical surgery that could affect my life
Yeah.
horribly for the rest of my life?"
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I had one to cut my thyroid out, and he's like, "It's impossible." She was like, "It's impossible. You'll never get rid of it." And I was like, "I don't believe you. There's something. I think there's something wrong with you." I knew right away. I just didn't think she liked me right off the bat.
Yeah.
Thank God I didn't listen to her. It's been 9 years. My thyroid disease went away. I got rid of it. I changed my whole living, my whole lifestyle. Boom, done.
So when you go into these doctors' offices, if they're white, they just see you as a black person. They don't see you as a patient. I'm not gonna say all because when you paint with a broad brush, but it seems like they just see you as a black person.
Right.
Just like the caption on that video with Tatiana Ali said, white police officers do to black men what white officers do to black men, doctors do to black women. White doctors do to black women.
Yep, butcher us, literally. Remember the 250 black women in Long Island or Jersey? They were told they had breast cancer. They got their breasts removed, find that they didn't have no cancer at all.
So we as black people, the black people with the money and the black people with the knowledge, we really have to get together and start building stuff so we don't have to go dependent on anybody else. You're telling me all these black people in America, we can't have a hospital? There's a Jewish Memorial Hospital. Like I said, there's black medical center. I mean, there's Chinese medical centers in Chinatown. I've seen them. There's Indian medical centers and they don't say Indian, but it's Chinese writing on it. You know what I mean? On the name, I don't even know what the name of it is because it's just written in Chinese and it's a medical center. So it is Chinese. Same thing with Indian. There's Indian lettering on the building and it's a medical center. So, but black people, what do? We just sit around and wait to go to people who don't look like us to take care of us. And then we bitch and whine and complain that they're not treating us right. So we got to get out of that mentality. We seen that video where that guy went into Gucci and was bitching about how Gucci was treating him. I mean, seriously,
all these designers, you want Gucci. That's not even a real designer.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank everyone for checking in. Jafia, you're not talking too much. We love you. We love people that comment. Comment as much as you want. Comment. If you're the only one commenting, keep commenting. We don't care. We don't, just keep commenting. Yvonne Williams, thank you for checking in.
Hey.
Sherry Ross, kisses to you. Love you. Thank you for checking in. Jafia, so I mentioned Jafia. Yes, for Jafia, I'm old. Still old. I'm actually an hour and a half older than I was when I started this show. Who else is on here? Grandma Staley, thank you so much for checking in. Thanks. I'm not gonna get everyone. I'm gonna try to get most of you. Information Man, what's up, brother? We're gonna be on this show. We have to get together and figure out our time, dates and stuff. And Information Man wants us on his show. And have we done a show with Information? We did a full show with him, right? I think we did. Yeah. Yeah, so thanks to everyone. Sharon Gooden, thank you so much for checking in. And thanks to everyone. Please check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. So we're in several places, so you have no excuse for not checking the show. Please activate the subscribe button so you get a notification. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Send me your money. Don't send it to the preacher.
Yes, and I might give up jokes and start, doing
some ministry.
And I won't be here, but I will see you guys soon.
Paul's ministry.
Yeah. All right, people. Bye. We love you. I mean, I don't say that lightly. I truly mean that because you guys take an hour and a half out of your night to check out our show, and we really appreciate it. It's not taken lightly. We really appreciate the people that check us out, and please recommend us to your friends and family.
Thanks for watching.
Good night, peace.
Peace and love. Hey.